Ever since the announcement of last year's LEGO Minecraft crafting table, I've wanted to make a giant version of the set. You see, this set finally brought back the beloved microscale format, but sometimes bigger is just better. So today, we're scaling it all up from 1x1 to 2x2. On paper, that might not sound like a lot, but that's gonna make for a build 8 times larger than the original. And yes, that probably means around 8 times as many pieces as the original model too. I guess we had better get to building. A huge thank you to the LEGO group for sending over a lot of the parts needed for this build through the LAN LEGO Pick-a-Brick collaboration. Pick-a-Brick has been an especially useful tool for buying brand new 2x2 tiles in bulk, as they tend to be far cheaper there than on Bricklink. At the time of recording this at least, the Pick-a-Brick warehouse is going through an insane backlog of orders, but hopefully full service will resume soon, and Pick-a-Brick will return better than ever. While certain elements will always be cheaper on Bricklink, the ability to buy hundreds of the same element from one singular place can be extremely useful when building for a theme like Minecraft, which ends up reusing a lot of the same pieces over and over. But enough of that, let's take a look at what we're actually building here. As I begin setting up the frame, it's dawning on me that this project is a lot bigger than I originally imagined. We'd be able to fit 8 Microworld crafting tables within the larger 2x2 scale. To make the crafting table's texture as accurate and as clean as possible, I'll be building these sections sideways, exclusively with 2x2 tiles. Each panel is 14x14 pixels, which means 196 2x2 tiles per side. That's actually crazy. I wish I had a proper video, but here's a picture I took of all the tiles I started out with. I have no doubt we will use a majority of these on this build alone. The panels fit snugly into place and become flush with the support beams. Like the original set, my larger crafting table will end up having 18x18 pixels, rather than the game's 16x16. That just makes our outer supports a bit stronger, and honestly I think it's better to look too, with consistent 2 pixel thick beams all across the model. Unsurprisingly, the new build dwarfs the original Microworld set, and it'll even get taller once we add the top on it. But that was the easy part. Flipping the model around, you'll see that we have a whole world we'll need to scale up in our larger build. It's gonna be like making a bunch of mini modules for the Minecraft world, but much more condensed. The fact that the crafting table set has managed to cram in so many recognizable biomes and locations is one of its greatest appeals. It's a perfect encapsulation of the Minecraft experience in my opinion. Another detail that I'll of course want to capture in the upscaled model is the little map Easter egg hidden beneath all the modules. The map accurately reflects the world above it, and it's such a cool feature. This easily could have just been 4 6x6 tiles, but I love the extra care that went into the design here. You'll also notice, in addition to the 5 modules that fit inside, there's a small ring of terrain framing it all. We'll start our build with that. Something that could become problematic as the build continues is the height. It's easy to make perfect 2x2 cubes, but much more challenging to create the perfect Microworld 1x1 cubes. In reality, they should be 2.5 plates tall, but as you can imagine, half a plate is pretty hard to come by. You get those basically only in brackets. The Microworld set instead opts for 2 plates to form a complete block, which is completely fine and an almost unnoticeable compromise in most situations. But as we build out our more accurate world, we'll be adding a whole extra plate of height per block, which I'm guessing will be significant in the long run since it's a pretty tall build, and I just need to make sure that the roof of the table is actually going to fit on this thing. The original set cheated a bit with the structures, as you probably noticed. The trees and buildings can't really be scaled up to be block accurate either, and that's okay. These will need to stay small so that everything can actually fit inside. I'm going to do my best to maintain their Minecraft-y, blocky appearance. The best part, of course, of the larger scale is that we'll be able to add more detail than the Microworld ever had, like some texture on the mangrove roots and on the trunk of the birch tree. Side by side, these models do look pretty similar. I think this is working so far. The next step is going to be starting on the 5 inner modules. We'll begin with the village. It's amazing how the designer, Isaac Snyder, was able to pack so much detail into this small 6x6 platform. I'm very excited to build this one in particular. Remaking these houses is particularly interesting as I wanted to add in block-accurate stairs for the roofs. It required the use of a lot of brackets, but I was able to pull it off. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to live in any of these houses, but they still look great on display and it captures the village vibe perfectly. This module goes right front and center in this corner here. Our inner world is already starting to come to life. Next up, I've built the Dripstone Cave and Taiga module. Things like the scaled up ores and berry bushes really showcase the advantages of the larger scale. I've even managed to still include the upside down dripstone, which I think looks great in the larger model too. The original design of this module is honestly brilliant. There's just something about the way that it's all composed that really does it for me. It's beautiful. Scaling it up helps me to appreciate the details too of the original even more. This build will drop right next to the village, and I like how the water flows from one module into the next. I think you can see why I was worried though about the height. This is gonna get a little bit interesting. Next up is the Mineshaft in Cherry Blossom Grove. This module is bursting with fun details and colors, and I've done my best to even improve upon them in the larger module. At this scale, I wasn't able to insert my patented rail design, but I find this clip and bar solution to be quite attractive all on its own, and much easier to build too. The biggest change I've made from the original Microworld module is swapping out the copper ore for gold. I feel that it's a better fit with the Mineshaft theme anyway. Once we add this into the crafting table, things are really starting to look complete. We've got a whole little ecosystem thriving inside this block. It's so vibrant and charming. I love it. There's a module hidden beneath all these surface ones, and that's the Deep Dark and Lush Cave. It's been a long time since I built my own Deep Dark MOC, so I had a lot of fun playing around with these dark and spooky colors again. The Lush Cave takes up a very small percentage of the build, but it's cool that all the cave biomes were able to be represented in this tiny world. To help with the developing height problem, I actually ended up shaving off a whole block from this layer. If you look closely, you'll see that I took a block out from each of the corner columns about in the middle. It might not be much, but hopefully it allows everything to fit, and this way I don't feel it compromises the look of the build either. I'm hoping you didn't even notice there was a block missing until I pointed it out. This module disappears behind everything else, but it'll provide crucial support for our last module, the Frozen Peaks. It's a great way to finish off the world, and though it's the simplest of the modules, I love the vibrant blues it brings into our display. There's of course the tiny little igloo tucked away here too, and that kind of reminds me of the one I put in my own Minecraft world. I know when I add this to the display, it looks like it won't fit, but the roof actually will provide exactly one extra block of space beneath it. That means everything just barely fits, but hey, that's all it needed to do. Looking at this is simply uncanny. It's as if I turned my shrink ray in reverse and zapped the Microworld set. In some regards, the model is kinda just big for the sake of being big, but also I'd argue that bigger is just sometimes better. As a lover of LEGO Minecraft minifigures though, it's really cool that they'll now be able to inhabit this world. We've only got one last thing to finish up, and that's the top of the crafting table, of course. At 18 by 18 pixels, you're looking at no less than 324 2x2 tiles. And that all fits perfectly over the compact little world. Even the tallest ice spike fits, a welcome relief indeed. Side by side once again, the Microworld set is comically small. Remember, it would take 8 of the original set to make up the mass of the upscaled model. There is one last thing I've forgotten though, the minifigures. Thankfully, I left little axle holes on the side of the larger build so that they're easy to add on. We've got Steve, a cow, a skeleton, and a witch for one side, and then on the other we have a creeper, villager, pig, and Alex, an identical lineup to the original. I'm so happy to have finally brought this project to life. Though I probably should have known better, I definitely underestimated the scope of this project. It probably did use close to those 8,000 pieces. I mean, there was almost 1,000 2x2 tiles all on their own. It was a very fun build to take on, and thanks to all of you who encouraged me to go through with this one. Hopefully we'll be able to do some other block accurate remakes later this year when I revisit the 2015 LEGO Minecraft sets. Thanks as always for tuning in. I hope you have a great life, and I'll see you again soon.